I accidentally got my mom's best friend pregnant. Honestly, it was not all my fault. 3 days ago, after breaking up, I went to a bar to unwind. A drunk beauty came over to flirt. We talked for a while, and really clicked, then got a room in a daze. Next morning, she was gone. And I knew nothing about her. Sunlight slipped through the sheer curtains, stinging my eyes. I sat up with my hangover heavy head. Only the faint wrinkles on the sheets proved everything last night was not a drunken dream after being dumped. My name is Lin Chen. I am 22. A junior at Qing University. Just 24 hours earlier, I was still the poor fool. Humiliated by my campus belle girlfriend, Qing, the girl I chased for half a year. At the milk tea shop by school, in front of everyone, she threw my milk tea on the floor, called me broke, said I could not give her the life she wanted, said Wang Hao from finance could casually buy her the newest iPhone, while I could not even buy her lipstick. My hands shook with anger. In those 3 months with her, I lived as cheaply as I could and spent every part-time dollar on her, only to end up called poor. I only smiled, said good luck clinging to a rich guy and left. That night my roommates saw I was off and dragged me to Qing's hottest Median bar, saying they would heal my broken heart. I was not in the mood, but after a few whiskeys, my head started to float. All I heard was Qing saying, "You are just a useless poor student." The more I thought, the worse it felt, so I carried my glass to the bar, and right then, she crashed into my arms. A sweet gardenia scent wrapped around me. I looked down and saw her up close. She wore a black slip dress with a matching blazer over it. Her long hair fell loose, a few strands clung to her flushed cheeks, and a tipsy smile touched her lips. Her figure was truly stunning, especially those legs in black stockings, long and straight, casually crossed like that. I stared until she said, "Sorry little brother. I drank too much." Her voice was soft and husky. Nothing like Qing's coy, sweet little act. It sent a shiver through me. I quickly held her steady. The alcohol hit me too, so my mouth moved first. "No worries, lean on me if you cannot stand. I can hold you," she laughed. And did not push me away. Holding my hand, she picked up my glass at the bar and sipped my remaining whiskey, then raised a brow, heartbroken, drinking alone to drown it out. I had nothing left to lose, and dumped it all out, telling her how Qing left me. She listened quietly, now and then saying that girl had no taste. Saying a handsome guy like me would have had her chasing me if she were younger. Those words made my heart bloom. My wounded pride floated back up after a few words. The more I looked, the more I liked her. Mature and beautiful, gentle, and she understood men. We drank cup after cup, talking about everything under the sky. I only knew her name was Lily. The more I drank, the dizzier I got. But my body kept heating up. She leaned on me, breathing on my neck, making my heart tremble. Dazed, I helped her out of the bar. She looked up and said, "Little brother, dare to come with me." My head went hot. Not just go with her. I would have followed her through fire. I hailed a taxi and named the best hotel nearby. She leaned into my arms, quiet the whole ride. Only her hand kept gripping mine. After that, my memories were fragments. Only the warm hotel lights remained, and the gardenia scent on her, and the softness of her skin, and how she leaned by my ear, calling me little brother again and again, so sweet it could melt me. With those legs half hidden in black stockings, I was losing my mind. What Qing? What heartbreak? I threw it all far away. All I knew was the woman in my arms was the best in the world. But when I woke up, she was gone. I searched the bed and only found on the nightstand an unopened bottle of water and a thin black hair tie. Nothing else remained. As if that fiery woman from last night was just a drunken illusion. I held the hair tie to my nose. It still carried a faint gardenia scent. My heart felt complicated, a little empty, a little strangely satisfied, and a little unwilling. After all, it was one wild night, yet it felt like a dream. I showered at the hotel, changed my clothes, slipped the hair tie into my pocket, and finally left slowly. I had just reached the roadside when my dorm boss called. He shouted, "Chen, where did you run off to? You ignored our calls last night. Qing brought that rich kid to block you downstairs, saying she would embarrass you." I gave a cold laugh, feeling no ripple inside. Yesterday, I might have been angry or felt humiliated, but after last night, looking at Qing now, I only felt bored. That plain little look of hers, compared with Sister Lily last night, was not even close. Let her block me then, like I was scared of her noise. I got a taxi and told the driver my school address, then replied, "Perfect, I have things to say too." 20 minutes later, the taxi stopped below the dorm. From far away, I saw Qing holding Wang Hao's arm, standing by the flower bed. A few students had gathered around, pointing and whispering. The moment Su Qing saw me, she perked right up, let go of Wang Hao's arm, and walked over in heels. With a mocking smile, Lin Chen. So you still know how to come back? I thought after I dumped you, you ran somewhere to cry. Wang Hao came over too, wrapping an arm around Su Qing's waist, looking down at me with open disdain, laughing as he said, Qing being with me is her blessing. Your monthly allowance is nothing. You cannot even buy her lipstick. Stop dreaming above your place. The crowd burst into laughter, pointing at me. In the past, I would have gone red with rage and argued with them, but now I only picked my ear, looked at Su Qing, and smiled slowly. Su Qing, do you think dating a rich kid makes you a phoenix? Su Qing's face instantly darkened. Lin Chen, what do you mean? Nothing much. My eyes swept over the dress she wore, a designer dress Wang Hao clearly bought, and my tone carried a little scorn. I just think, instead of being your own person, you chose to be an accessory. How sad. He can buy you bags and clothes today. Tomorrow he can dump you for someone new. Do you really think he loves you? Bullshit. Wang Hao lost his temper at once. He stepped forward with clenched fists. Kid, you want a beating? I stood there without moving. I even stepped closer and pointed at the camera overhead, smiling. Come on, hit here. The school cameras are clear. Touch me once and I will drop to the ground. If I do not get 80 grand from you, I have nothing to lose anyway. Your family has money. Let us see if the school protects a rich kid or an ordinary student like me. Wang Hao's fist froze in midair. His red face was stuck there. He looked painfully awkward. The laughter around us changed direction. Everyone started pointing at Wang Hao. He had never suffered this before. He gritted out, poor loser, but did not dare swing again. I looked back at Su Qing. Her face went red then pale, shaking with anger. I smiled and added, do not think I was crushed because you dumped me. To tell you the truth, the woman I met last night was 100 times prettier than you, 100 times gentler, and her figure left you miles behind. Compared with her, you are just an unripe little cabbage. I should thank you for dumping me, or I would never have met someone so good. Once I said that, Su Qing's face turned green. She screamed, Lin Chen, you are shameless. I am still better than you worshipping money. I waved my hand, too lazy to waste more words, and turned into the dorm building, leaving behind the watching crowd and Su Qing and Wang Hao fuming. When I got back to the dorm, my 3 roommates rushed over, praising me like crazy, saying I had been so cool. Totally, that awful pair could not say a word. The boss patted my shoulder, not bad. Chen, one night out and you finally woke up. Did you really need a pretty older woman, or were you bragging to us? I smiled, pulled the black hair tie from my pocket, and placed it on the desk, raising my brow. Why would I lie? I never talk big. My 3 roommates leaned in at once, staring at the hair tie. Their eyes went straight, all talking at once, asking what exactly happened. What did she look like? How old was she? What did she do? Their questions made my head ache, so I vaguely said we met at the bar, and did not explain more. It was not that I would not. I truly knew nothing. For the next few days, I kept touching the hair tie in my pocket, thinking of Sister Lily that night. She was like a gust of wind in my life, stirring up my heart, then vanishing without a sound, just when I was about to bury it, as a misty little memory. My mom called me. My mom's name is Xianglan, a typical northeastern woman, direct by nature, always loud and energetic. She ran a small market in Jiangchang. Our life was not rich, but I usually listened to her, except for the odd argument. The moment the call connected, my mom's loud voice came through. Chen, coming home this weekend. Your Aunt Lyman is back. She is coming over for dinner. I will make your favorite braised pork. I froze for a second. Aunt Lyman, Mom had many close friends. Growing up, I had met countless aunties. This Aunt Lyman sounded familiar. Maybe Mom's childhood best friend. I heard she went south for business years ago, and later went abroad. I had not seen her for over 10 years. My memory of her was blurry. Aunt Lyman. Which Aunt Lyman? I asked casually. Who else? Xiao Lyman, my best friend. She held you when you were little and bought you formula. My mom snapped over the phone. Has your memory been eaten by dogs? Come home this weekend. Your Aunt Lyman even said she would introduce you to someone since she heard you got dumped. It is perfect timing. Hearing blind date made my head ache, so I quickly cut in. Okay mom, I got it. I will come home this weekend. After hanging up, I thought no more. It was just mom's friend coming to eat. As for introducing someone, I could brush it off then. My head was full of Sister Lily that night. I had no mind for other girls. The weekend arrived quickly. I slept until noon and cleaned up, then took a taxi home. My home was in an old neighborhood, not too far from school, just a 20-minute cab ride. As soon as I reached the door, I smelled from inside the aroma of braised pork and a familiar faint gardenia scent. My heart skipped, and my feet stopped cold. This scent was too familiar, just like that night at the hotel. Exactly the scent around me. I tried to comfort myself. It was just gardenia perfume. Plenty of women used it. How could it be that coincidental? I shook my head, took out my key and opened the door. Mom, I am back. I changed shoes and called out, then looked toward the living room, and with one glance, I nearly turned to stone. A woman sat on the sofa, wearing a champagne silk dress, with a natural kind of charm. Sunlight poured through the window, falling over her, covering her whole body in a soft glow. Mature and elegant, alluring, full of womanly grace. And that face, I would know even as ashes. It was at the bar that night. Sister Lily, who spent the night with me. The keys in my hand clattered down, making a sharp sound. My mind went blank, like lightning had struck me, buzzing non-stop. Only one thought kept looping wildly. I am doomed. I slept with my mom's best friend. The woman my mom said once held me and bought me formula. The woman I had to call auntie was the one from that night. She heard the sound and turned. Her gaze landed on me. The moment our eyes met, I clearly saw the glass in her hand jerk. Water nearly spilled out. Her once smiling face froze instantly. Panic flashed in her eyes. Her pupils even tightened, but only for 1 second. She quickly hid her emotions and put on a graceful smile again, though the smile looked stiff. Even her ears quietly reddened. Chen, you're back. My mom poked her head from the kitchen, still holding a spatula. Smiling, she scolded, why stand there? Come in and greet her. This is your Aunt Xiao Lyman, the one I told you about. Hurry, call her auntie. I stood in place. My legs felt lead heavy and would not move. My mouth hung open. My tongue felt tied in knots. After holding it in, I finally squeezed out a few words. Hello, Aunt Xiao. Saying aunt nearly cracked my teeth. She held me and bought formula. More than auntie. Days ago you held me and called me little brother. Xiao Lyman looked at me. The corner of her mouth twitched, forcing out a smile. Her voice sounded unnatural. Chen, you have grown so much. Last time I saw you, you were only this tall. Still a tiny kid. I complained wildly inside. Auntie, I am taller than you now. My mom came out of the kitchen, wiped her hands and smacked me. Brat. Come sit down. Talk with your auntie. The food is almost ready. I forced myself to the sofa beside Xiao Lyman and sat on the single chair across from her, not knowing where to look. Yet my side vision was full of her. Her legs were crossed. The calves below her dress were slim and fair, just like the touch I remembered. Her fingers were delicate and pretty, holding the glass. Her nails were trimmed neatly and carefully, painted a soft nude pink. Those hands had brushed my back that night, leaving faint scratches. The more I thought, the more restless I got, and the more afraid I became. Cold sweat rose across my back. My mom kept chattering, Lyman, you have no idea. This boy recently was dumped by his girlfriend at school and moped around all day. It worried me to death. You know so many people. Do you know any nice girls? Introduce one to our Chen. Xiao Lyman took a sip of water, then looked up at me with a hard-to-read look and a bit of embarrassed anger. The corner of her lips lifted, and she said, sure, Chen, tell auntie your type. I will keep an eye out for you. The water in my mouth nearly sprayed straight out. Auntie, you know exactly why. Do you not know my type? I cleared my throat, forcing down the storm inside me. Then my brain glitched, and that shameless side came out. I looked at her and slowly said, I do not ask for much. I just like women like Aunt Xiao, mature and beautiful, gentle and generous, and very understanding. Once those words came out, the air went silent. Xiao Lyman's face turned red at once, from her cheeks down to her ears. She almost dropped the cup. My mom froze for a second, then laughed and smacked me, scolding, you little brat. So rude, joking with your auntie like that. Is your auntie someone you can tease? Shut up now. I quickly laughed it off and said, Mom, I was just joking. Aunt Xiao, relax. I just think you are incredibly elegant. Xiao Lyman took a deep breath and barely calmed herself down. She glared at me. There was warning in that look, and shy anger, plus something hidden in her smile. She set it down, then smiled at Mom. Fine, the kid was only joking. Chen is sweet. I secretly laughed to myself. Sweet mouth. Auntie, not what you said that night. When you called my mouth sweet, you sounded much more sincere. Soon my mom finished cooking. Braised pork, sweet and sour ribs, and steamed fish filled the table. Mom pulled Xiao Lyman to the dining table and kept serving her food while chatting about all these years. Then I learned Xiao had not just returned. She came back half a year ago and opened a media company. that was doing very well. Now she was a real female boss, worth serious money. But she had been busy with the company and had no time to see mom. I was more shocked. So I had slept with mom's best friend. I had slept with a billionaire rich woman. At dinner, mom kept urging us to drink. She poured Xiao wine and poured me one too. Xiao Lyman held her glass and took a sip. Her eyes kept drifting toward me with a complicated look. With my mom sitting beside us, I grew bolder too and started testing her indirectly. I lifted my glass and raised it toward Xiao Lyman. "Aunt Xiao, let me toast you. Welcome back to Jiangcheng." Xiao Lyman clinked glasses with me and sipped, then smiled and said thanks, Chen Chen. I set down my glass and casually asked, "Aunt Xiao, when work gets so busy, do you ever relax at a bar?" "A few days ago, I went to Midi Bar and thought I saw someone who looked just like you. I figured I must have been mistaken." The moment I said that, Xiao Lima's hand suddenly shook around her chopsticks. They almost slipped from her fingers. Her face instantly turned even paler. She shot me a fierce glare, her eyes full of warning. My mom noticed nothing wrong. Hearing bar, mom exploded. She put down her chopsticks and scolded me. "Lin Chen, that place again. How many times must I say it? Bars are full of all kinds of people, not places for a student. Did you start acting out after getting dumped?" I quickly smiled and said, "Mom, I was wrong. I only went once with classmates. Never again. Besides, I really saw wrong." The back looked like Aunt Xiao, but it was not her. Only then did Xiao Lima relax. She took over and said to my mom, "Sister Lan, it is fine. The kids are grown now. It is normal to relax with classmates. I rarely go to bars. Only sometimes for client dinners." Chen Chen must have seen wrong. After saying that, she glared at me again, as if she wanted to eat me alive. I secretly laughed and lowered my head to eat, but my lips kept curling up. That meal left me scared and thrilled. All at the same time, I kept pushing the limit, dropping vague lines now and then. Watching Xiao Lima panic and fume while not daring to explode made me want to laugh. And Xiao Lima forced herself to stay calm, chatting with my mom while warning me with her eyes. By the end, she had barely eaten, but drank quite a lot. Her cheeks stayed flushed, and it made my heart itch. When dinner finally ended, mom cleaned up the dishes. Xiao Lima stood up to leave, but mom stopped her and said, "You drank. You cannot drive. Chen Chen has his license now. Let him take you. Chen Chen, send your aunt home. Come back after she arrives safely." My heart instantly bloomed with joy. I quickly nodded. "Got it, Mom, mission guaranteed." Xiao Lima opened her mouth to refuse, but my mom gave her no chance. She pushed her toward the door, saying, "It is settled. I worry if you go home alone. Let Chen Chen take you. He can learn from you too. Look at you, so young and already a big boss. He should broaden his horizons." Xiao Lima had no choice but to agree. I took the keys and followed behind her, downstairs toward the underground garage. Neither of us spoke on the way. The silence felt strangely tense. Only our footsteps could be heard, echoing through the empty garage. When we reached a white Porsche Panamera, Xiao Lima stopped walking and pressed the key. The doors unlocked. She turned around to look at me. Her polite smile vanished in an instant, replaced by a flustered, angry look. Her voice dropped low, with a hint of clenched teeth. "Lin Chen, what did you mean at dinner?" I leaned against the car, watching her puffed up with anger, and found it insanely cute. I smiled shamelessly. "Nothing, Aunt Xiao. I was just greeting you. Did you sleep well?" "Shut up," Xiao Lima instantly snapped. She reached out to cover my mouth, but I grabbed her wrist. Her hand was soft, smooth, just like it felt that night. As I held her wrist, I could clearly feel her pulse racing. My heart stirred. I could not help stepping closer, almost pressing against her. The garage lights were dim. Only emergency lights gave off a faint glow, falling across her face. Her lashes were long and trembling softly. Her cheeks were red. Even her breathing grew hurried. "Aunt Xiao, why are you hiding?" I looked down at her, lowering my voice with a teasing edge. "You were not like this that night. You held me and kept calling me little brother so sweetly. Why act like I am a ghost now?" Xiao Lima's face grew redder. She struggled to pull her hand back, but could not break free. Her eyes reddened from anger. Through gritted teeth, she said, "Lin Chen, let me go. Do not go too far. That night was an accident. We were both drunk. Can we just pretend nothing happened?" "No," I refused without thinking. I looked into her eyes and said seriously, "To me it was not an accident. Xiao, I do not care if you are mom's best friend. Someone I should call aunt. I accept what happened that night." Xiao Lima froze. A flicker of surprise crossed her eyes, as if she never expected me to say that. I let go of her wrist and opened the driver's door, then raised a brow at her. "Get in." "Aunt Xiao, Mom told me to take you home safely. I cannot make her worry. We can talk slowly on the road." Xiao Lima stood there watching me for a while, then finally gritted her teeth and went around to the passenger seat. I started the car, and left the garage, heading toward the river. I knew Zhongqing's top river view. Luxury flats were all over there. A boss worth as much as Xiao Lyman must live there. The car was very quiet, with only the air conditioner humming. Xiao Lyman leaned back and looked out the window. Her side profile was soft, but her emotions were clearly complicated. After driving a while, she spoke first. Her voice was soft. Lin Chen, about that night. I hope you never tell anyone. Especially not your mother. She is my best friend. If she found out, we could not even stay friends. I know, I nodded. Watching the road ahead, I will not tell my mom. Unless you want that. Xiao Lyman breathed in relief, then said, just treat it as an accident. Let the past be past. From now on, we will just be elder and junior. Okay, I glanced sideways at her and smiled. Aunt Xiao, do you think that is possible after what happened? How can I see you as an ordinary aunt? Every time I see you, I remember that night. Remember you holding me. I just cannot do it. Lin Chen. Xiao Lyman blushed with anger and slapped my arm. You are driving. Stop talking nonsense. I dodged with a smile. I am not talking nonsense. I am telling the truth. Xiao, that night at the bar. Why were you so drunk? Why come talk to me alone? Someone with your status would not flirt with strange men at random. When I said that, Xiao Lyman's expression instantly dimmed. A trace of loneliness crossed her eyes, along with some anger. She turned to look out the window. She muttered, it is none of your business. How does it not? I said, we already crossed that line. Your matters are my matters. I cannot stay tangled with a woman without knowing why she appeared in my bed. Xiao Lyman stayed silent for a long time and finally sighed. Then told the truth. She had an ex-husband named Zhao Feng. They were married 8 years, but their personalities clashed and she could not get pregnant, so they divorced. When they split, Xiao Lyman gave him 10 million. She had done more than enough, but after Zhao Feng got the money, he wasted it. Gambling every day. In under 2 years, he lost all 10 million and owed casinos several million more. This time, when Xiao Lyman returned, Zhao Feng found out and kept pestering her, wanting to remarry. In truth, he just wanted more money from her. A few nights ago, Zhao Feng asked her to meet at Midi Bar, saying they should talk properly. But after she arrived, Zhao Feng slipped something into her drink. After one sip, she felt dizzy and her body burned. Her mind started to blur. She knew something was wrong, so while Zhao Feng was not looking, she ran. But in her dazed state, she crashed right into my arms, and what followed happened naturally. After hearing it, I gripped the wheel in rage and cursed through my teeth, that bastard. He dared drug you. Is he even a man? Xiao Lyman saw how angry I was, and surprise flashed in her eyes. Then she smiled bitterly. It is over. Nothing really happened anyway. How is that nothing? I looked at her and said seriously, if you had not run into me that night and that bastard took you, the result would be unthinkable. Xiao Lyman, we cannot let this go. He touched you. He will pay. Xiao Lyman froze and looked at me without speaking. The people around her who knew either urged her to let it go or wanted her money, using this to please her. No one had been like me, whose first reaction was anger and wanting to defend her. She looked over and her gaze softened. Her voice softened too. You are still a student. Do not get involved. Zhao Feng is a total rogue. You cannot handle him. I cannot handle him. I scoffed. I have nothing to lose. He is a debt-ridden gambler. Why would I fear him, Aunt Xiao? Leave this to me. I will make sure he never bothers you again. Xiao looked at me with complicated emotions in her eyes. She wanted to speak, but did not, and only nodded gently. Soon the car arrived at Riverview 1 by the river, Zhongqing's top luxury district. Hundreds of thousands per square meter. One unit started at tens of millions. I parked in the underground garage, turned off the engine, and looked at Xiao Lyman. We are here, I said, and Xiao Lyman nodded, then unbuckled her seatbelt. She looked at me, hesitating a while, then said, Lin Chen, thanks for driving me back. And about that night. Thank you. I froze, then laughed. Thank me for what? For taking advantage of you. Xiao Lyman blushed again and slapped me lightly, saying crossly, be serious. I mean, thank you. If not for you that night, who knows what would have happened. Seeing her reddened eyes, my heart softened. Reached out and gently stroked her hair and said, no need. Protecting you is what I should do. Xiao Lyman's body instantly stiffened. She looked up at me, her lashes trembling softly. Her eyes held emotions neither of us could name. We were very close. Our breaths tangled together, and the mood in the car turned intimate. I looked at her soft lips and could not help leaning closer. Just as my lips almost touched hers, she suddenly turned away and pushed me back. Her voice panicked. No. Lin Chen, we cannot do this. I am your mother's best friend. You should call me aunt. Seeing her panic, I did not force her. I only smiled and said fine. I will not push. But Xiao Lyman, I like you, and that will not change. Xiao Lyman stared at me for a long time, then finally pushed open the door and fled from the car, running into the elevator. Without looking back, I sat in the car, watching the elevator numbers rise floor by floor, and could not help laughing. Interesting. Too interesting. From that day on, my life completely changed. I was no longer like before, drifting through classes every day. Now I had a goal. I started visiting Xiao Lyman's company often, saying I was checking on her for my mom, afraid Xiao Feng would bother her. Xiao Lyman's company was in Zhengqing's busiest CBD. The whole floor was hers, decorated with luxury style. The first time I went, the receptionist stopped me, asked who I wanted. I said, Xiao Lyman. I was her little brother. The receptionist looked puzzled and called Xiao Lyman's secretary. Within 2 minutes, the secretary hurried downstairs and led me up. The whole way, with searching eyes, she watched me enter Xiao Lyman's office. Xiao Lyman was in a video meeting. She froze when she saw me. Almost dropping the pen in her hand, she told the screen, pause a moment. Then turned off the microphone and looked at me through gritted teeth. Lin Chen, why are you here? I smiled and walked to her desk, placing the thermos in my hand on it. Mom asked me to bring you some soup. She said you have been busy and should nourish yourself. Also, I came to check on Xiao Feng. If Xiao Feng came again. Xiao Lyman looked at me, both angry and helpless. I am in a meeting. Go wait outside first. I nodded and did not make trouble. Just sat on the office sofa, quietly waiting for her meeting to end. Her meeting lasted over half an hour. After it ended, employees came in with files. When they saw me there, they all stole curious glances and whispered at the door when leaving. I knew right away they must be gossiping about this young guy and their beautiful boss. After everyone left, Xiao Lyman walked up to me, hands on hips, saying crossly, Lin Chen, what exactly do you want? Coming to my company every day. People here are gossiping already. I opened the thermos and poured soup, then handed it to her, smiling, let them say whatever. I am just bringing you soup, not doing anything bad. Drink it, Mom made it herself. It will taste bad cold. Xiao Lyman looked at the soup I offered, then hesitated for ages, but finally took it and sipped it slowly. She looked gentle drinking soup, her long lashes lowered, hiding the emotions in her eyes. I sat across from her, just watching. The more I watched, the more I felt. She was truly charming. From that day, I visited her office daily, bringing Mom's food today, some fruit tomorrow, and flowers the day after, claiming I was caring for her for Mom. But really, I just wanted to see her daily. People at Xiao Lyman's company all assumed I was her young boyfriend. Their looks carried some respect. Even the receptionist, whenever she saw me, would smile and say hello Mr. Lin. At first, Xiao Lyman drove me away. Later, when she could not, she let me be. Only when I was before her staff and joked with her, she would blush and glare, but never truly get mad. I thought the days would keep passing quietly like this. I would slowly pursue her. One day, she would accept me. But half a month later, trouble came. I was in class when Xiao Lyman suddenly called me. Her voice sounded panicked and close to tears. She said, Lin Chen, can you come over? The moment I heard something was wrong, I instantly panicked and forgot all about class. I said my stomach hurt and rushed out. As I ran, I asked what happened. Was it that bastard Xiao Feng bothering you again? Where are you? I am coming now. At the hospital. Xiao Lyman's voice was very soft, with a slight tremble. City Central Hospital. Come here. I need to tell you something. My heart suddenly dropped. I panicked at once, thinking something had happened. I grabbed a taxi and rushed to Central Hospital. My heart was in my throat the whole way, my mind filled with awful thoughts. 20 minutes later, I rushed into the hospital gynecology clinic and saw Xiao Lyman in the hallway. She sat on a bench, wearing a white suit. Her hair was messy, a paper clenched in her hand, her head lowered, shoulders trembling. She looked so helpless. I hurried over and crouched before her, asking anxiously, what happened, Lyman? Where do you feel sick? Did Xiao Feng hurt you? Tell me. I will make him pay. Lima looked up at me. Her eyes were red, filled with tears. She stared at me without speaking, then handed that paper to me. I took it in confusion and looked down. It was a pregnancy report. Clearly written on it was intrauterine pregnancy. About 5 weeks. My mind went completely blank. The report nearly slipped from my hand. My whole body froze. I crouched there stunned. Pregnant. Xiao Lyman was pregnant. The child was mine. Those words were all I could hear, looping wildly in my head. Like lightning had struck me. I even forgot to breathe. I slept with Mom's best friend, and now she carried my child. Now I finally understood why Mom always said, walk by the river long enough and your shoes get wet. This was more than wet shoes. I had fallen straight in, seeing me frozen like a statue. Xiao Lyman's tears finally fell. Her voice choked. Lin Chen, I am pregnant. The baby is yours, and I finally snapped back. Looking at her tearful eyes, my heart felt tightly squeezed. Aching and soft, I gently wiped the tears from her face. Then my brain shorted out, and my shameless side returned. I blurted out, really? I am that good. One time and it worked. Xiao Lyman had been crying sadly, but froze the moment she heard that. She looked at me with tears still on her face, angry yet almost laughing, then hit me once. Scolding through tears, Lin Chen, can you be serious? I am worried to death. And you say that? I quickly held her hand and helped her up, then sat beside her. Looking at the report in her hand, my feelings were impossible to name. There was shock and panic, but even more, a strange kind of joy, and a responsibility I had never felt. I was 22, still in college, and about to become a father. The mother was my mom's best friend, 16 years older than me. If this got out, everyone's jaws would hit the floor, but I was not scared at all. I even felt a little thrilled. I looked at Xiao Lyman and asked seriously, what do you want? Xiao Lyman sniffled and wiped the tears from her face, then took a deep breath, her eyes turning firm as she looked at me. I want to keep this child. I froze for a second, then smiled and nodded, okay. Then we keep it. I have no objection. Now it was Xiao Lyman's turn to freeze. She looked at me, her eyes full of shock, as if she never expected me to agree so easily. She had prepared for me to tell her to abort it, to cut ties with her, even to block her. She stared at me for a long time, then took out a bank card from her bag, placed it in my hand and said, Lin Chen, I can raise this child myself. You do not need to be responsible. There are 5 million in this card. Enough for a home, car, marriage, and future. I only ask one thing. Never tell anyone about this. Especially your mother. Never mention it. Just pretend this child has nothing to do with you. I looked at the bank card in my hand, then looked at Xiao Lyman and suddenly laughed. I placed the card back into her hand, looked into her eyes, and said word by word, Xiao Lyman, what kind of man do you think I am? Am I the kind who walks away after sleeping with a woman, leaves her to have the baby alone, and even takes her money? Xiao Lyman looked at me, confused. Then what do you want? Simple. I gently held her hand, looked into her eyes and said seriously, I do not want money. The child is mine, so I must be responsible. And you are mine too. I want you too, Xiao Li. Ma, I want to marry you. What nonsense is that? Xiao Lyman instantly exploded and yanked her hand back, staring at me in disbelief. Lin Chen, are you crazy? I am 16 years older. I am your mother's best friend. You should call me aunt. How could we get married? Your mother would be furious if she knew. I am not crazy. I looked at her, my tone completely serious. What does age matter? So what if it is 16 years? Yang Jining and Wang Fan are 54 years apart, and they still live well. Besides, you are mom's best friend, not my real aunt. We are not blood related. Even the law cannot stop us. What about your mother? Xiao Lyman looked at me, her voice trembling. Sister Lan is my best friend. I am with her son and carrying your child. How can she accept that? She will cut ties with me. I will talk to my mom. I said, she has a fierce temper, but she loves me and she loves you. As long as we are sincere, she will accept it one day. And even if not, even if she refuses, I still will not let go of you or abandon this child. Xiao Lyman looked at me and tears fell again. She was 38 this year, married to her ex for 8 years, and had dreamed of having a child, but every method had failed. She thought in this life, she would never have her own child. Yet after one accident, she actually became pregnant. She wanted to keep the baby, but she was ready to raise it alone. She had even planned to give Lin Chen money, to keep him silent forever, and keep him out of her and the baby's life. She never imagined Lin Chen would say this. This boy 16 years younger, her best friend's son, when she was most lost and helpless, told her he would marry her and take care of her and the child. Stared at me for a long time, then finally covered her face and cried. I reached out and pulled her into my arms, gently patting her back, and softly said, do not cry. I am here. If the sky falls, I will hold it up. I will protect you and the child. Xiao Lyman trembled as she cried in my arms. All those years of pain and helplessness burst out in that moment. After we left the hospital, my life as a future dad officially began. I moved straight into Xiao Ma's Riverview apartment, calling it caring for a pregnant woman. At first, Xiao Lyman refused, but she could not beat my persistence, and after getting pregnant, her morning sickness was terrible. She really needed someone beside her, so she finally agreed. I began learning pregnancy meals, checking tutorials on my phone every day, what pregnant women could eat, what they could not eat. I memorized it better than school notes. At first, my cooking was either too salty or too sweet, and tasted awful. Xiao Lyman threw up after one bite. Seeing how miserable she felt, I felt deeply guilty and quietly dumped all my dishes in the kitchen. almost crying from frustration. Xiao Lima saw it and hugged me from behind, saying gently, "It is okay. Take it slow. You are already doing well." From then on, I learned cooking from the housekeeper daily. After half a month, I finally made a few decent pregnancy meals. Xiao Lima ate my cooking, her eyes full of smiles, saying it tasted better than the housekeeper's. Besides caring for her meals, I walked with her every day, told her jokes, and made her smile. When morning sickness hit, I rubbed her stomach, poured her water, and stayed with her all night, without feeling tired. Xiao Lima watched me bustle around, her gaze growing softer, and her attitude toward me changed. She was no longer cold like before. She would act spoiled with me, tell me her work troubles, lean into my arms, and imagine what our baby would be like. Our relationship advanced at incredible speed. Besides that final thin barrier, we were no different from a real couple. Of course, my mom knew none of this. I told my mom I rented a place near school with classmates to study more easily. Mom believed it without thinking much, but whenever she called me, she told me to visit Xiao Lima, saying it was hard alone and I should care for her. I always agreed with a smile, secretly laughing, "Mom, do not worry. I will take perfect care of your best friend. I even arranged a grandchild for you." Time passed quickly. Soon Xiao Lima was almost 3 months pregnant. Her belly had begun to show, her sickness slowly eased, and her color looked better every day. Her whole body carried a gentle maternal glow, making me like her even more. Just when I thought our days would keep going happily, trouble appeared. That day, I took Xiao Lima to buy maternity clothes, but as we reached the maternity section, we ran into two people, Su Qing and Wang Hao. Su Qing's eyes widened when she saw me. Then, her gaze fell on Xiao Lima beside me. Xiao Lima wore a loose maternity dress today, her long hair down, arm linked with mine, gentle and elegant all over. Although pregnant, her aura was still outstanding, far beyond Su Qing. Su Qing's face darkened at once. She looked Xiao Lima up and down, then looked at me with a mocking smile, and said sharply, "Lin Chen, no wonder you were not sad after I dumped you. Turns out you found a rich woman. I really never thought you were the type to live off women." Wang Hao also walked over, holding Su Qing by the waist, and looked at me with disdain. "Kid, does free money taste good? Want brother how to introduce a few, all richer than this old woman?" The moment he said that, Xiao Lima's face turned cold. I was about to argue with them, but when they insulted Xiao Lima, calling her old, I snapped. My fists cracked tight and I was about to swing, but Xiao Lima stopped me first. She stepped forward, shielding me behind her, instantly radiating a powerful boss aura. "I spend money on my boyfriend. What does it have to do with you?" Xiao Lima's voice was cold, carrying authority without anger, and also, "You are the ex-girlfriend who dumped him." Su Qing backed up under her pressure, but still forced herself to stay tough. "Yes, so what? He is just a poor loser. Besides living off women, he is useless." "Poor loser," Xiao Lima scoffed. She looked Su Qing up and down, with a hint of disdain. "My Chen Chen is young and handsome, upright in character, and responsible. 100 times better than that spoiled, useless rich boy beside you. You call him poor." Xiao Lima continued, raising a hand toward the mall, then said calmly, "This mall is a key project partnered with my company. The entire third-floor maternity section is my investment. My company is worth 1 billion. The man beside you, his family's companies are not even my spare change. What right do you have to call my boyfriend poor?" After those words, Su Qing and Wang Hao went pale. Wang Hao's family ran a small business, worth only tens of millions. In front of Xiao Lima, a billion-level big shot. He was nothing. His arrogance vanished instantly, and all his fire went out. Xiao Lima looked at them and said coldly, "Also, you just called me old. I am 38 this year, and built everything I have from nothing. I have cars, homes, and a company. Men who want to be with me could line up across the river. What about you, barely in your 20s? Instead of working hard, you only want a rich man and be a decoration. What gives you the right to mock me?" Su Qing's face shifted red and pale, standing there trembling all over, unable to say a word. Shoppers around us gathered, pointing at them and whispering, laughing hard. Xiao Lima could not bother with them. She took out her phone and called the mall manager, then said calmly, "Manager Zhang, 2 people here are harassing customers and disturbing mall order. Have security escort them out and never allow them in again." Less than 2 minutes after she hung up, the mall security guards hurried over. Without another word, they dragged Su Qing and Wang Hao outside. Su Qing screamed and struggled, but it was useless. Under everyone's mocking laughter, security hauled them out like stray dogs. Watching their miserable backs, I felt incredible. I hugged Xiao Lima tight and kissed her cheek. Smiling, sister, you were so cool. I love you so much. Xiao Lima's face turned red at once. She patted me and said crossly, so many people, behave. That was what she said, but the corners of her mouth still lifted. Her eyes full of smiles. After that incident, Xiao Lima fully accepted our relationship. When we went home that night, she leaned in my arms and told me she used to think our age gap was too big. And with this relationship we could never be together. But now she did not care. As long as she was with me, nothing others said mattered. I held her, my heart melting completely, and lowered my head to kiss her. This time she did not push me away. Instead, she wrapped her arms around my neck and kissed me back. Just as our feelings grew stronger, and our days grew happier, that lingering ghost Zhao Feng appeared again. That day, I went to school for exams, leaving the housekeeper with Xiao Lima. But right after the exam, the housekeeper called. She sounded frantic on the phone, saying Zhao Feng had come home, making a scene at the door, demanding to see Xiao Lima, and threatening to break in. The moment I heard that, I burned with rage, hung up, grabbed a taxi, and rushed home. On the way, I cursed Zhao Feng's entire family line. When I got home, Zhao Feng was still shouting at the door, with two thug-looking men beside him. Clearly not decent people. Neighbors had opened their doors to watch, pointing at them. Xiao Lima's door was tightly shut. The housekeeper was terrified inside, still calling me non-stop. I rushed over and grabbed Zhao Feng's collar, yanking him back hard, then cursed through my teeth, Zhao Feng, are you looking to die? Daring to make trouble here? Zhao Feng froze when I grabbed him, then recognized me, and a mocking smile curled on his lips. He shoved my hand away, looked me up and down. Who are you, kid? Still wet behind the ears and meddling with me. What does my ex-wife have to do with you? Ex-wife, I scoffed. Look at yourself first. Do you deserve to call her that? You divorced 8 years ago, yet keep pestering her for money. And now you dare make trouble at her door. Have you no shame? My business with my ex-wife is not for an outsider to judge. Zhao Feng glared at me, arrogant as ever. Listen here. Lyman is carrying my child. I came to take her home, so get lost, kid, or I will not be nice. When he said that, I laughed from anger. I had seen shameless people, but never one like this. I looked at him and said slowly, your child, Zhao Feng, you divorced her 8 years ago and never got her pregnant in 8 years. What, is your seed Neza? Waiting 8 years before coming out. The watching neighbors burst into laughter, all pointing at Zhao Feng, calling him shameless and crazy for money. Zhao Feng's face turned bright red, humiliated and furious. He clenched his fist and swung at my face. You are dead. I was ready and dodged aside, then kicked him hard in the stomach. Zhao Feng dropped to the floor from my kick, grimacing in pain, unable to get up. The two shady men beside him, seeing their boss get hit, they rushed up to fight me. But I did not panic at all. I pulled out my phone and waved it, then said coldly, I called the police. They will be here any minute, and I already recorded you harassing us at the door. Zhao Feng, you owe the casino millions. If you get locked up, do you think they will spare you? Once I said that, the two men stopped at once. Their faces turned pale. They all relied on Zhao Feng and feared the police and casino most. Zhao Feng panicked too. He got up and stared at me, fear showing in his eyes. Yet he still acted tough. Kid, you just wait. This is not over. After saying that, he fled with those two men, watching them run off. I finally let out a breath, then turned and knocked on the door, calling out, Lyman. It is me, it is safe now. The door opened quickly. Xiao Lyman rushed into my arms, her whole body shaking, fell at once. I held her, gently patting her back, softly saying, it is okay. Do not be scared, I am here. He will not dare come again. After this incident, I knew if Zhao Feng was not dealt with, he would always be a threat. Right now, he was a mad dog, buried in gambling debt, capable of anything. If he got desperate and hurt Xiao Lyman or the baby, I would regret it forever. So I began setting up Zhao Feng. I asked someone I trusted to find the casino he owed, then sent Zhao Feng's address and movements to the casino anonymously. The casino was already hunting him. After they got the tip, they sent people after Zhao Feng. Zhao Feng was cornered several times and almost had his legs broken, hiding every day, utterly miserable, with no energy to harass Xiao Lyman. Then, I gathered proof that Zhao Feng extorted Xiao Lyman, plus evidence of his harassment, and gave it all to the police. Zhao Feng became a street rat, hated by everyone. On one side, he had to hide. On the other, dodge the police. He could not stay in Jiangcheng, and secretly fled the city, never daring to come back. After removing Zhao Feng, the big problem, Xiao Lyman and I finally had peace. Seeing everything I had done for her, Xiao Lyman truly fell for me. That night, she leaned in my arms and said she would marry me. After the baby was born, we would register. I held her, almost crying from joy, then lowered my head and kissed her, saying again and again that I loved her. We lived happily like that. Xiao Lyman's belly grew bigger. She was over 4 months along and clearly starting to show. We even started naming the baby, decorating the nursery, and dreaming of our future life. We thought as long as mom did not know. Once the baby was born and everything was settled, even if my mom got angry, she would slowly accept it. But neither of us expected. Paper can never hide fire forever. That day was the weekend. My mom called and said she made chicken soup to bring Xiao Lyman and nourish her. I was buying fruit for Xiao Lyman and instantly panicked when I heard it. I said I would pick it up and bring it, but mom said there was no need. She was almost downstairs at Xiao Lyman's and wanted to see her too. I hung up and rushed back like crazy with only one thought: the secret is out. I hurried all the way, but was still one step too late. When I reached Xiao Lyman's door, the door was open. My mom stood in the living room. The thermos had fallen from her hand. Chicken soup spilled everywhere. She looked at me in pajamas, then at Xiao Lyman, also in pajamas, with her belly clearly swollen. Xiao Lyman trembled all over, her face deathly pale, her eyes filled with disbelief. The air froze instantly, so quiet that even a needle could be heard hitting the floor. I stood in the doorway, my mind completely blank, as if all my blood had frozen, unable to say a word. My mom looked at me. Her lips trembled for a long time before she forced out a sentence, her voice shaking. "Lin Chen, why are you here?" I opened my mouth, but no words came out. Xiao Lyman panicked too and hurried over to help. My mom, her voice near tears, "Sister Lan, please listen to me explain." My mom suddenly stepped back, avoiding her hand. Her eyes fell on Xiao Lyman's belly, then turned to me and instantly turned red. She finally understood everything. The pregnant best friend with no father named, the son renting outside with classmates, all of it was fake. Her best friend carried her son's child. Her son and the woman she grew up with had gotten together. My mom nearly blacked out, almost fainting. I rushed over to support her, calling anxiously, "Mom, do not get worked up. Listen to me explain." But she shoved me away, then raised her hand and slapped me. The sound was sharp and loud. My face burned with pain. She pointed at me, shaking with anger. Tears fell instantly, cursing, "Lin Chen, you little bastard. Do you know who she is? She is my best friend, the woman you call auntie. How could you do something so shameless? How did I raise a son like you? Sister Lan, do not hit him." Xiao Lyman rushed in front of me, crying to my mom, "Sister Lan, this is not Chen-chen's fault. It is all my fault. I was the one who started it. Hit me or scold me instead." "Your fault." My mom looked at Xiao Lyman, her eyes filled with pain and disappointment. "Lyman, we grew up together. I treated you like my sister, yet you did this. You got together with my son and even carry his child. How am I supposed to face this? How do I face our relatives and friends?" Xiao Lyman looked at my mom, shaking with tears, unable to say a word, only repeating, "I am sorry." The more mom spoke, the angrier she got. She turned and ran to the balcony, grabbed the feather duster for clothes, and came over to hit me. I covered my head and ran around the room, shouting, "Mom, listen to me. I truly love Lyman. We truly love each other. The baby is already here. We are going to get married. Married? I will beat you senseless." My mom was furious, chasing me with the duster. "She is your auntie. She is 16 years older than you, and you want to marry her. Are you insane? Telling you, I will never agree. Unless I die first." Xiao Lyman stood between us with her belly, tears streaming in panic, afraid mom would hit me, and afraid mom would hurt herself from anger. The whole living room became chaos, just as mom held the duster and chased me with full force. Xiao Lyman suddenly groaned and held her belly, then bent over. Her face went pale at once. Mom and I both froze instantly and panicked as we looked at her. I rushed over to support her, asking anxiously, "Lyman, what is wrong? Does your stomach hurt?" Xiao Lyman clenched her teeth. Cold sweat covered her forehead. Holding my hand, she shook and said, "It hurts." My mom panicked too. The feather duster fell to the floor. She rushed over to Xiao Lyman, asking anxiously, "Lyman, what happened? Did the baby get startled? Get her to the hospital, now." Without another word, I bent down and lifted Xiao Lyman, then ran out like mad. My mom followed behind me, so anxious that tears fell, muttering all the way, "Please let nothing happen. Please let nothing happen." We rushed Xiao Lyman to the hospital. After checking, the doctor said it was only a scare, nothing serious, but she could not be stressed again. She had to stay calm and rest well. Only then did mom and I breathe out. Xiao Lyman slept on the hospital bed, her face still a little pale. I sat beside her and held her hand, looking at her swollen belly, feeling guilty and miserable. My mom stood at the ward door, watching us for a long time in silence, her eyes full of mixed emotions. After a while, she gently walked in and patted my shoulder. Her voice was soft and tired. "Chen-chen, come outside with me." I nodded, gently put down Xiao Lyman's hand and followed Mom out of the ward into the hospital corridor. Mom leaned on the wall and looked outside, not speaking for a long time, then finally sighed, looked at me and said, Chen, tell Mom the truth. Do you truly love Lyman, or is this impulse? I looked into my mom's eyes and said with total seriousness, Mom, I truly love her. This is not impulse. I want to marry her and spend my life with her, to be responsible for her and the baby. Mom looked at me, helplessness flashing in her eyes, then sighed again. She is 16 years older, and she is my best friend. You called her auntie for years. Have you thought, if you two are together, what will people say? How will relatives and friends see us? I do not care. I said, we live our own life. Let others say whatever they want. I only know Lyman loves me, and I love her too. We have a child now, and want to live well together. Mom looked at me, silent for a long time. Tears finally fell from her eyes. Why are you so stubborn? I raised you since you were little. I only hoped you would live safely, find a suitable girl, get married and have children, and live a steady life. Why did you create such a huge mess? I gently wiped the tears from her face, feeling deeply guilty. Mom, I am sorry. I hurt you, but I truly love Lyman. I cannot lose her, and I cannot lose this child. Mom looked at me, then at Xiao Lyman asleep in the ward, and finally gave a long sigh, waving her hand. Fine, I understand. I will not interfere anymore. But Lin Chen, you chose this road yourself. Whatever happens later, never regret it. You cannot wrong Lyman, and you cannot wrong the baby, or I will never forgive you. I froze, looking at my mom, my eyes full of disbelief. Mom, you agree? What else can I do? Mom rolled her eyes at me. The baby is already here. Can I force Lyman to end it? Or force you two apart? Lyman is my best friend, and you are my son. If you two truly want this, can I really cut you both off? I was so excited I almost jumped and hugged my mom. Mom, thank you, enough. Do not give me that. Mom patted my back and sighed. But from now on, I do not know how to define this. She is my best friend and now my daughter-in-law. What kind of mess is this? I laughed and said, closer than family. Mom rolled her eyes at me, but did not scold me again, only said, fine, go in and check on Lyman. She is pregnant and suffered so much. Take good care of her. I will buy food and make soup for her. After saying that, Mom turned and left. Her back looked a little helpless, but also relieved. Watching my mom's back, my heart felt incredibly warm. Then I turned and entered the ward. Xiao Lyman was already awake, leaning against the bed and looking at me, her eyes full of tears, but a smile on her lips. Just now, she had heard everything we said. I walked over and sat by the bed, held her hand and smiled. You heard it. My mom agreed. Xiao Lyman nodded, tears falling, then reached out and hugged me, choking. Lin Chen, thank you. Thank me for what? I smiled and held her, then kissed her forehead. I should be thanking you. Thank you for marrying me and for giving me a baby. Xiao Lyman cried hard in my arms, but her heart was full of happiness. I thought by this point all trouble was over, and we could finally live peacefully, waiting for the baby to be born. But I never expected bigger trouble ahead. On the day Xiao Lyman left the hospital, we had just walked outside when reporters surrounded us. Countless microphones and cameras were shoved in front of us. Camera flashes kept bursting. Reporters fired questions from every side. Miss Xiao, may we ask, this young man beside you, is he the father of your unborn child? Miss Xiao, we heard you two are 16 years apart, and he is your best friend's son. Is that true? Miss Xiao, about your ex-husband Zhao Feng, did you divorce him because of this man? Sharp questions came crashing down. I was stunned on the spot and quickly held Xiao Lyman in my arms, blocking the cameras and microphones, with only one thought in my mind. How did the media know this? Who leaked it? I looked toward the back of the crowd and saw a familiar figure, Zhao Feng. He stood there, watching us with a sinister smile, his eyes full of revenge. I understood instantly. It was him. He leaked it to the media. Xiao Lyman was a famous Jiangcheng businesswoman. This kind of wealthy scandal, an age gap, her friend's son, and pregnancy. Any one detail could ignite public opinion. Zhao Feng wanted to destroy Xiao Lyman and destroy us. I looked at Zhao Feng's cruel face, my fists clenched until they cracked, my eyes filled with rage. Xiao Lyman trembled slightly in my arms, clutching my clothes tightly, watching the reporters and cameras close in. Her face turned pale at once. I looked down at Xiao Lyman in my arms, then touched her swollen belly, and took a deep breath. I knew this battle had only begun. But I was not afraid. No matter how many storms waited ahead, how much trouble, or how many rumors, I would protect her, protect our child, and protect our home, because I am Lin Chen, her man, and the father of her child.